At this time, if we could please have the roll call by our city clerk.
Councilmember Jackson.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Silva.
Present.
Mayor Villegas Walker.
Here.
Councilmember Cardenas.
Present.
And Councilmember Sanders.
Here. If you could all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the invocation. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's go ahead and bow. Precious Lord, thank you again for this time, Lord. Especially grateful for our community and our council that have gathered here this evening, Father God. And we just continue to ask for your guidance and wisdom, Lord, and that we may make the decisions that are in the best interest of our community, Lord. We rejoice in the presentations today, Father God, and we also continue to ask for your guidance and help. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. The El Centro City Council did meet in closed session on 2 occasions. Today, we will ask that our city attorney report out on those closed session activities.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. On a motion by Councilmember Sanders, second by Councilmember Jackson, the City Council met in closed session at 11:31 a.m. Motion carried 3-0 as Councilmember Silva arrived at 11:33 a.m. and Councilmember Cardenas arrived at 12:03 p.m. With regard to the pending federal case, McFadden versus City of El Centro in the court and case number listed on the agenda, a report was given for information only with no action to report. A report was given to the council on the 2 anticipated litigation items listed on the council agenda. Anticipated litigation / significant exposure to the city report was for information only with no final action to report. Economic Development Director Marcela Piedra and Finance Director, Leticia Salcido participated in the anticipated litigation / city to initiate report, and direction was given to staff with no final action to report. There were 2 added items to the closed session agenda as the need to take action could not reasonably wait until the next regularly scheduled meeting. Moved by Councilmember Sanders, seconded by Councilmember Jackson to add the first anticipated litigation / significant exposure to the city item to the closed session agenda. Motion carried 3-0 with Councilmembers Silva and Cardenas absent. Public Works Director / City Engineer Terry Hagan and Community Development Director Norma Villacana participated in the report on the added item, and direction was given to staff with no final action to report. Moved by Councilmember Silva, seconded by Councilmember Jackson to add the second anticipated litigation / significant exposure to the city item to the closed session agenda. Motion carried unanimously. A report was given on the added item, and direction was given to staff with no final action to report. Council met with its labor relations negotiators, Ruben Duran, City Manager, and Terry Brownlee, Human Resources Director, concerning labor matters. The City Attorney excused herself from this report at 12:59 p.m. On a unanimous vote by the Council, closed session adjourned to 5:30 p.m. at the Old Post Office Pavilion. On a motion by Councilmember Sanders, second by Councilmember Silva, the City Council met in a reconvened closed session at 5:30 p.m. Motion carried unanimously. Council's labor relations negotiators continue their report on labor matters. There is no action to report, but direction was given to staff, and closed session ended at 6 o'clock p.m. That concludes my report.
Any modifications, changes? No. Thank you, Ms. Becker. Now moving forward with I don't want to spoil the drama here, but I think this is going to be the highlight of our meeting tonight. We were going to move forward with our police chief change of command and badge pinning ceremony. If we could have chiefs extraordinaire come forward, Chief McGinley and soon-to-be Chief Medueno. That would be perfect. Look at you, you've got like the full house here.
Well, I'll speak first. We came up with this idea to actually do a change of command ceremony because to his knowledge, who's been here a lot longer than I have, it has never occurred before. So we wanted to do a formal change of command like they do in a lot of places. So with that, I'd like Ms. Medueno, could I get you to come up here? Because I'm going to give you my badge before I run out the door. So that you can give it to your son. That makes it official.
Is he drawing blood yet? Or?
He told him to draw it out.
For the pictures.
Yay.
I'm not leaving yet. So, the chief came to El Centro 5 years ago. We developed a really quick, really close working relationship. He was always the chief of police, but he never acted like my boss. He treated me almost like an equal. He tasked me with helping him run the department. I said to him, I respect him. I owe him a debt of gratitude. He's become a friend of mine, whether he'll admit it or not. So I say it with respect when I tell him that I can't wait for him to leave. So with that, it is my honor that I get to present him with his retired El Centro Police Department chief. I'm not a hugger. Thanks, bud. It's appropriate. I'm going to say a few things just because it's the last time I'll have a captured audience. It's been fun for me to be here. It's been a great experience. I mentioned at my luncheon last week that I really appreciate Mr. Duran taking a chance and picking me. And he was a great boss to work for because he let me do my job. Police department is in great shape. We've got great officers and staff. We've got good things on the horizon with looking at expanding in the buildings. And I think that the police department is going to go to the next level without a doubt with Chief McWayne. It's been an honor and a pleasure. And I'm going back to retirement. Thank you. Keeping in mind that this is still a city council meeting, I won't go over my 3 minutes. What I do first and foremost, I want to thank God.
Amen.
Because I owe it all to him. Sometimes I say that you can ask for things, but he doesn't give it to you till you're ready. So I wanted to be the chief for a while. Finally decided that I was ready for it. So with that, I move forward with confidence that with the team I've got at the El Centro Police Department, we're going to go far and hopefully do really well for the community. I too want to thank our city manager, Ruben Duran, for giving me the opportunity, sir. I'll do everything every day not to let you down. I want to thank our city council for the support. As you, my family, I'm real fortunate that I was able to have my dad here to pin the badge on me. My mom is here. My wife, I asked my wife, Margie, to stand next to me because my 30-year career in law enforcement, she's been by my side the entire time. So I wanted that symbolically to show that she's always been by my side. So I've got my daughters. I got in trouble last time for not mentioning my daughters, Christina. They keep me going too. I just feel great. I'm overwhelmed. I would hope that a lot of you are here for me too. I recognize faces from even back in high school. And, a lot of our employees in the community. So we at the El Centro Police Department are going to do our best to make this community better. With that, thank you.
Okay, with that, we're going to take just a very brief recess to allow those of you that actually were here for the ceremony to exit, and then we'll continue on with our meeting. Okay, next on the agenda, we do have a presentation. It's a proclamation proclaiming May 2014 as Military Appreciation Month in the city of El Centro. I believe we have a representative from the EDD present. If you could please come to the podium and introduce yourself, and then on behalf of the city, I'd like to read the proclamation.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members, and those in attendance. My name is Lynn McAllister. I'm one of the veteran representatives for Imperial County.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, it's our honor as the City Council to present this proclamation to you. Military Appreciation Month, May 2014. Whereas the City of El Centro appreciates the millions of American men and women who have served and are now serving in the armed forces, protecting our nation and the freedoms sought by people throughout the world. And whereas our service members have been wounded, taken as prisoners, and given their lives during times of war, international conflict, and peacekeeping missions. And whereas the community is forever grateful for the sacrifices made by our service members and their families, both during their time of military service and when they return home. And whereas the City of El Centro is committed to ensuring that service members receive the recognition and support which they deserve. And whereas the City of El Centro joins Congress in honoring the United States Armed Forces during Military Appreciation Month by seeking to increase public awareness and support of all service members and their families. Now therefore I, Cheryl Villegas Walker, Mayor of the City of El Centro, State of California, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2014 as Military Appreciation Month in the City of El Centro.
Except the podium, and yes.
You know, it's an honor to be able to accept awards on behalf of the veterans of Imperial County, for the veterans that I have the privilege of serving in attempts to find employment. That's my main responsibility here, is to find those that are transitioning out of the service, and specifically those that have volunteered during war times to go to war on behalf of the United States, to kind of ease that transition. It can be challenging at times, but these are the times right here where it really feels gratifying, outside of the times when I actually find someone some employment. So just want to share real quick that if you have people at home, we all know a veteran, a friend of ours went to the service, a family member that's in that process of transitioning from while they're in to joining the civilian community again, and they're having a tough time and they want to exhaust their unemployment, or they want to exhaust their school benefits. Remind them that EDD is here for them. EDD has veteran services is there for them. That the program is mandated by the federal government and passed down to the states and then passed down to counties. That's why I'm here. So my name is Lynn McAllister. I have business cards available for those that may want them. I am located in the EDD building that is located across from Burger King, next to Walgreens, and I'm here for the veterans. We're here to help.
I'd like one of your business cards, and thank you for being here. Did you say you're located near Burgers and Beer?
Across from Burger King.
Oh, Burger King. Oh, I thought that was a great segue into our next item, which is Chamber of Commerce. Burger King. Okay, thank you.
Sir.
All right, next up is our monthly report by the El Centro Chamber of Commerce. Mr. Jaime Honnold.
Mayor, Council. First of all, I just want to give a big thanks to you for supporting our Imperial Valley 250 City Manager. It was a big success. I think you all know. Alex, congratulations, you won your division.
Yay!
Anyways, I don't have any numbers or yet as of now. I can speak for myself. The numbers for a restaurant, for a business, double for that week. I spoke with a few businesses around town, and they were all excited, and they were very happy. All I can say is the last week we had a debrief meeting, and BLM showed up, and they gave us a 2 thumbs up and said, congratulations on a job well done. So the only thing I can say is that this race will not only come back again, but it's going to get bigger. And thank you very much for your support. We really appreciate it. With that being said, one of our committee members is our retiring Chief McKinley. As you know, Chief McKinley could retire a while back, but he decided to stay in the force a little longer because he knew the importance of the race to our community. He did not only keep our streets safe, but he understood our needs as a business community. So with that being said, in a special recognition of Chief James McKinley, City of El Centro Police Chief 2009-2014, for his contribution to the citizen of El Centro and the business community. Thank you for keeping our streets safe. El Centro Chamber of Commerce and Visitors Bureau, May 1st, 2014. And for those who know, May 1st, 2014 is Chief McKinley Day.
Oh, nice.
One more thing. We had our dinner celebration after the race, and Chief McKinley was kind enough to attend, and not only attend, but also gave us a suggestion on the menu. So on Burgers and Beer now, we have a new burger, Chief McKinley Burger.
Wow. Okay. Well, what's in it? We need to know
Okay,
what's in it.
here we go. If you go there today, you won't have it because it's on the works, but it's
Okay, all
it's
right.
printed and it should be coming pretty soon. Here we go. It's a delicious combination of brie and blue cheese topped with caramelized onions, sliced grilled green apple, and fresh arugula. Adds a peppery bite. Chief, thank you.
Wow, nice.
And one last thing, our monthly mixers next week, Thursday the 15th at Stan's Auto Body. Thank you.
Okay, very good, Mr. Honnold. You know, that's pretty cool, have a hamburger named after you in Virgin Bear. That doesn't happen every day. All right, so next on our agenda is a presentation by Dr. J regarding dental health services. Dr. J, if you could please come forward. And the city clerk will need your full name and address for the record, please.
Yes, my name is Javad Agalu. They call me Dr. J. Address is 1502 South LaBrucherie here in El Centro. And good afternoon, good evening, Mayor, City Council members, members of the audience. One thing, I'll just take a few minutes here, and I know some of you already, and I give many presentations around, but I'm trying to bring dental health to the forefront. As a military member myself, I've done a lot of research and studies, and some of the cutting edge research is finding, and it's obvious that the mouth is part of the rest of the body. So your mouth affects everything else. And even some physicians don't realize that. So I'm trying to bring it to the forefront, so I go on speaking on these topics. I don't want to give hers. Anyway, while she's getting... So I'm going to show you some pictures. I might show you a couple gross pictures, so I apologize. But I'm just, and you can go to the slide. Okay, so this is all based on research, statistics, everything like that. And the fact is we all place really, really high value on our smiles, whether we talk about it every day or not. So they took surveys, they did research, Harvard University, UCLA, a bunch of studies. And the studies found that 99.7% of adults believe smile is an important social asset. We don't really think about it every day, but it's true. It's everybody, 100% of people pretty much. Almost everybody believes a smile is important to members of the opposite sex. Almost everybody believes that an unattractive smile can hurt a person's chance for a career success. So the three things I talk about with your smile are your health, your chance for career success and advancement, talking about jobs and things like that, and relationships, husbands, wives. I'm gonna go through these fast. I see children like this every single day, okay? Cavities everywhere. I see this every single day in my practice. Actually, I own 2 practices. But tooth decay is the #1 most common chronic disease in children. Chronic means long-lasting, long-term. So there's tons of kids walking around with cavities in their mouth. We don't do anything about it, okay? Young kids have a lot of decay. I'm gonna go through these quickly. A bunch of them have cavities that are untreated. This is more than it's been in the past. A lot of little kids, preschoolers, have up to 10 to 12 cavities or more. We're seeing that. And this is way more than 40 years ago, mainly because of diet and things like that, childhood obesity, some of the things. Okay, this is a gross picture, sorry. If anybody can see this. But I see this stuff every day too, okay? And this disease in the mouth, that's in the rest of the body. Everybody can understand that, right? I want everybody to understand that. This disease is in the rest of the body. The plaque for the gums and the cavities in the teeth, okay? So there's a lot of major diseases that are affiliated with the mouth. Diabetes is one of them. Diabetes is huge. Diabetics with poorly controlled blood sugar are 2 to 3 times more likely to develop gum disease. So if somebody has diabetes, they have to come in for a dental cleaning every 3 months, period, standard. High glucose levels, high blood sugar levels, reduce blood supply to the gums, increase infection, and then cause more cavities. And the latest research is that does diabetes cause gum disease, or does gum disease cause diabetes? So somebody like me who's at a risk for it, my father has diabetes. If I keep my mouth clean, I'm less likely to get it. Okay, that's what the studies are showing, basically. So also heart disease, the plaque in your mouth, believe it or not, the same exact plaque in your mouth that we brush off every morning and every night, that's the same plaque that clogs our arteries and causes heart attacks, okay? Same exact plaque, same bacteria. There it is right there. So it causes heart attacks and strokes. So if the artery goes to the brain and the plaques clog it, it causes a stroke. If the artery goes to a heart and it clogs it, it causes a heart attack. And some of you have already seen some of this. So, okay. And then also, if you have inflammation all over your body from the gum inflammation, it causes, it leads to chemicals in the body causing inflammation everywhere, leading to heart attack and stroke. Asthma is huge here in the valley. All these statistics, 20% of children in the valley has asthma. That's twice the rate of the rest of the country. Okay, kids go to the ER. The most important things, a lot of kids miss a lot of school from this. Okay, that's diseases. When it comes to appearance and things like that, whether we like it or not, the fact is that others assign personal value based on your teeth. Okay, picture like this. Somebody has a really nice smile. Somebody doesn't have such a great smile. This says nothing about their intelligence, nothing about their education, but sometimes we perceive that. That's what the studies show. As human beings, we see something and we believe that, okay? That's what we have here. Okay, so I'm gonna go through these. If you have a healthy smile or attractive smile, most people think you're healthy, period. Most people think you're smart, okay? And just kind of a funny fact here, 73% of Americans would be more likely to trust somebody with a nice smile than if they had a good job and a good car and a good outfit. So if I walk out with my Gucci suit and I drive my Bentley and I come out and they know I'm a dentist, but I smile and have bad teeth, they're gonna trust me less. That's what the studies show, okay? So the smile means a lot, it's a big deal, okay? Jobs, we were just talking about jobs with the veterans, and I've spoken to the veterans about this. The fact is that all these promotions that are lost due to somebody's teeth adds up to lost money, okay? So all in all, the research shows that people with bad teeth or unattractive teeth make less money overall, okay? They don't get hired as much, they miss work if you're on hourly wage. 164 million hours per year lost of work. And on this side here, if you guys can see it, it compares to other things that employers wouldn't want. Piercings, bad breath, visible tattoos, things like that. And I'll tell you that I have about 50 employees, and I've personally interviewed every single one of them. And of course, the interview makes a big deal, right? We all know that. So that's what I'm talking about. Okay. A poor smile can drive away potential life partners, boyfriends, girlfriends, husbands, wives. Okay. Study of a dating site showed that people with nice teeth are 57% more likely than those with crooked teeth to get a date based on a photo. Not that I would personally know about the dating websites, okay? I wouldn't know. But if you have a nice smile just based on a photo, people are more likely to want to go out with you, okay? And same thing, they wouldn't go on a second date with them if they had bad teeth. Even if you still live with your parents, Smile's more important than that, okay? That's what the studies are showing. So, okay, I'm almost done here, guys, sorry. So the fact is that smiling has been found to reduce stress hormone levels, elevate mood-enhancing hormone levels, and lower blood pressure. So if you smile, it makes you healthier, makes you happier and healthier, period. And when we smile, we not only appear more likable and courteous, but we're actually perceived to be more competent and professional if we're walking around smiling. Think if you're walking down the street and you see somebody smiling, you kind of want to approach them and say hi to them. If they're frowning, you don't necessarily want to do that, okay? And we've all heard the term probably that smiles are contagious. Well, the research shows they actually are, okay? Our smiles also give those around us 25% chance, higher chance of becoming happier themselves. So if we're not having such a great day, we're walking around, we see somebody else smiling, we're more likely to smile and become happier ourselves, okay? Last slide here. And what they're finding is that the smile is the #1 physical character that people remember. Okay, like if somebody's eyes, somebody's hair, smile's #1. At least a third of Americans say the first thing they notice about somebody is their teeth or their smile. Okay, but still the #1 attractive factor is somebody's personality. So that's a good thing, personality, but the physical characteristic is the teeth and the smile. And then it's hard to see here, but 25% say that teeth are the one part of a person's face they remember when they meet somebody new. So people remember that. It's a first impression. You never get a second chance to make a first impression, that sort of thing. Also, one last thing, I think that was my last slide, but yeah, but all of us have been to a restaurant or been somewhere where the person working there doesn't have the greatest looking smile, the greatest looking teeth, or maybe missing a tooth in the front, things like that. That's terrible. I want to be able to fix that. I don't go around promoting my business, I go around promoting health, and that's connected to the rest of the body. So I want people to get jobs. I go to the EDD. I'm trying to get people involved to help their smile and improve things. And that's all I had. Sorry, it took longer than 3 minutes there. Thank you.
I had a quick question, Mayor, when you get a chance.
Yes.
I just wanted to share, thank you for your presentation. I am a strong advocate for oral health, especially when it comes to children. I work with foster children, and the myth out there is that there's not a lot of dentists that work with children. Is that an accurate assessment when it comes to the city of El Centro or our county? Do we have enough pediatric dentists in our community?
We don't have enough pediatric specialists. Now, there's a lot of general dentists that see kids, but for the kids with several cavities,
right,
usually they need to be sedated to be treated,
Absolutely.
especially the young kids. So those ones, I have a pediatric dentist in my office, a specialist that comes in, but other than that, we have to refer them to San Diego or Indio. There's not one that's here permanently. I have one that comes in once or twice a week.
And I guess my question was, what can we do to bring awareness to that? Because there is a substantial need, in my opinion, for pediatric dentists. What are we doing to bring awareness?
Well, I'm trying to get out here and talk about it. As far as bringing the professionals here, I'm also bringing them. Having somebody permanent is a little more difficult. Something I am starting a nonprofit. I spent my own money to start a nonprofit where I'm trying to provide free care because there's still some people falling in a gap. The Affordable Care Act is still not covering dental at all. In fact, less people have dental coverage now because more people have to have medical coverage. So I started a nonprofit where I'm going to see patients myself, mainly school-age kids, for free, period, whether they have insurance or not, anything. And I'm teaming up with a couple physicians, and we're going to provide medical care as well. So I'm in the process of forming the nonprofit. But as far as bringing the professionals here, I don't know how we can do it. Go to the dental schools, say that it's a very kind of medically, dentally depressed area, which it is, but there's a lot of need. People could be successful out here. That's why I came out here about 4 years ago.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Thank you, Dr. J. I think we'll take a recess. We'll all go brush our teeth and resume. But no, that's critical importance. We hope you make the circuit with all the service clubs and get your word out. It's a very important message. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
All righty, we will move on to our consent agenda. Anybody want to pull anything? No, we'd look then for a motion to approve items 5 through 9.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Cardenas, second by Sanders. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Move on then to agenda item number 10. Discussion and necessary action regarding the presentation of El Centro Regional Medical Center Financial Mid-Year Agreed Upon Procedures Report. Presentation by ECRMC CFO Alex Wells. Hello, Mr. Wells.
Good evening. Essentially, what we have here is our mid-year agreed upon procedure report that is performed each year by Moss Adams. For those of you that have been on the council for a few years, you recall that we changed the ordinance a few years back The ordinance indicated that we were doing a review, which is a much more substantial process or procedure for an auditing firm to perform, and we weren't in compliance with that ordinance because we had been doing a review for so many years. So we changed that language in there. This is a small 3-page report that Moss Adams presented to our Board of Trustees, I believe, in March, and we're just bringing it to the council. Essentially what Moss Adams does is they come out and they review the hospital's major areas of risk, which are our accounts receivable and our contractuals. The contractuals are deductions that we make to our charges for patients. It's essentially what we net as payments from our payer sources, our Medi-Cal, Medicare, and the commercial payers. The report indicates that we are being extremely conservative with our estimates on our receivables, and that's, I think, the way we want to be. We essentially take the tact that, or the position that being a little bit more conservative is best, so that we don't get into a situation where we have paybacks or we have adjustments to our financial statements. With that, I'll open it up to any questions you may have.
Any questions here? Questions here?
No.
So, okay, we're going to send the hospital a bill for that. Just,
We can't afford that, but that's all right. Bill me.
So, Mr. Wells, there was nothing in the Moss Adams report that came as a surprise to either management or the Board of Trustees?
No.
Okay. And they have been retained by the hospital for some period of time to do your audit work?
That's correct.
Okay. All right. At this point, then, I'm going to look to the city manager. Do we need to take action to accept the report, or is this an information item, or? The agenda says discussion and necessary action.
I would, two things. One is I would recommend that you make a motion to accept. But secondly, and this is a discussion I had with Mr. Wells last week, is looking back on the history of this report. This is not a required report. This it's required by the City Council. It is not required under any other financial procedure. And there is a cost to this report. Is a consideration for the council to consider not requiring this report in future years, unless you want it to come back. We want to make sure you're clear. This is an extra cost for auditing.
So, but for the city's requirement, Mr. Wells, would the hospital have this report prepared?
Most likely not. Moss Adams will come out and they do some interim procedures. They do some control testing around our control environment, make sure that our processes are functioning properly. They're actually just getting ready to come out and do that. But this is more of a mid-year report that has been required by the council, as Mr. Duran pointed out.
Now, if I may continue, is the alternative to that is to allow the CFO to prepare this.
Sure.
As opposed to paying an auditor to pay it. So the information is valuable. I read into it a lot also. Question is whether or not we need to have a certified public accountant prepare this mid-year report in this special procedures.
It does cost us about $6,500 to have this report done.
Okay. All right.
Madam Mayor, there's nothing in the ordinance that requires any action on behalf of the city. It simply says there shall be an agreed upon procedures, as that term is defined by the attestation standards of the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants, conducted at the hospital's mid-year significant areas of financial risk by an independent certified public accountancy firm employed by the Board of Trustees, with a copy of the report generated therefrom being presented to the City Council.
Is the agenda item sufficient enough for us to take action to direct staff, if we had a majority of the council agree, to remove the requirement that it be prepared by a CPA, that we could allow the hospital CFO in lieu to prepare the report? Or do you want to bring that back as a separate item?
I think we need to bring that back because all this talks about is presenting the agreed upon procedures report.
Okay, so let me turn to the council. How do you feel about the internal
Well,
presentment?
that's interesting. So I think there's value to the information, but is the information valuable, I suppose, is the question. Is what we get out of that worth at least $6,500? And it seems to me that the answer is no, because we'll get our full audit done at the end of the year.
Absolutely. And we do provide our monthly financial statements.
Right.
All of this information is included in our monthly financial statements that go to Mr. Duran as the treasurer.
So I would not have any opposition to either continue to receive the report, but perhaps prepare in-house and not have to spend those funds, or maybe consider not just looking at them at our yearly audit report.
So we have I think what I heard was a motion to accept this report and then a motion to modify the procedure at a later date.
Could I ask just a question? And just in regards to our city, do we do anything similar to this, having a third party present a 6-month review, or is there anything that the city, from a financial standpoint, are we following any type of procedures such as these?
The difference on this procedure is very focused in on insurance payments. We do a January, February presentation of the status of the city budget that the city finance director brings to you. But we do not hire an outside accounting firm to prepare that. We prepare that in-house at mid-year.
So it's in-house?
Yes, but this document is not about the financials, it's about number of insurance, well, actually, streams of revenue.
Yeah, so it does relate to the financials. It's essentially the doing an assessment on our accounts receivable, which is a major part of our revenue, obviously, and whether the contractual deductions that have been applied to our charges is accurate or not.
My personal preference, I believe it's a very important internal control, is to have this document. But at the same time, I know that there's cost associated with it, and I believe having internal controls is important. But I'll defer to the council as far as whether or not we need to continue to expense for such a request.
What was Mr. Silva's motion? Was it to accept
This report for
the
tonight.
report, revisit the ordinance, and then continue to have something, but it could be generated in-house? Because I think that I would like to see something come forth. I have no problem with it being generated in-house. We will get the annual audit, and that's where we would be able to look at areas of, we'll look for any areas that may in fact lead to something that would be much more, well, not equally important. So if that's what Mr. Silva's motion is, certainly I will second it.
Okay.
Yes.
Any additional questions or comments, Mr. Jackson?
No, I'm fine with accepting the report and bringing back conversation, for the internal audit. I do like the idea of having a kind of a third set of eyes looking at things, but if the council and maybe maybe this is something we can talk about tomorrow in our strategic meeting with the board, is what their feelings are about it, and if the consensus is that we can do this internally and just rely on the annual audit, then I'm fine with that too.
So,
Ms. Becker, any closing comments before we accept this motion? No. Okay. We have a motion by Mr. Silva, a second by Ms. Sanders to accept the report, revisit the ordinance, come back with the option for an internal preparation of the report. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried 5-0. Thank you, Mr. Wells. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yes.
Okay, at this time we have agenda item number 11, discussion and direction whether to continue the current dial-a-ride contract or use the new ICTC consolidated dial-a-ride contract. I'm going to pause for just a minute while Mr. Hagan is calling this up. If you're here to speak on this item, I need you to get a speaker slip from the city clerk. Fill it out, please, and have it available so that we can hear testimony from you on this item. Mr. Hagan.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I'll give a brief presentation. I'll be followed by ICTC staff and then ARC staff as well. City staff oversees the current dial-a-ride contract for El Centro. ICTC recently completed a competitive bid process for a consolidated dial-a-ride contract, which includes all the dial-a-ride services throughout the county. This includes 5 agencies or areas: West Shores at Salton Sea, the cities of Brawley, Calexico, El Centro, and Imperial. Attached to your staff report is the April 4th ICTC letter, which describes the RFP process and the results of that. In this letter, Mark Bozza at ICTC requests that we take action by May 8th to either retain the current provider or participate in the consolidated contract, which is called IVT Ride. Currently, staff spends about approximately 40 hours, not that much time a year, dealing with the contract. We've never had a complaint from any dial-a-ride customer. And on April 17th, Kathy Williams at ICTC informed us that the city, if we kept the current provider, which is ARC, that we'd have to go through a RFP process and competitive bid process.
And Mr. Hagan, the time frame for that?
It would
we would have to do that by when?
about 4 or 5 months. So we would continue the current contract with ARC and then go through that process.
Terry, as it relates to that point, is the decision by ICTC to not allow us to extend, is that based on statute? Is that based on regulations? What allows us to, what allows them to make that call for us?
That would probably be a good question to ask ICTC. Okay. I know she expressed that since we had this contract so many years, over a decade, that it's time for an RFP. But
it's not an arbitrary decision. It's based on something.
Basically, the city has been operating on extensions as part of your existing contract. So eventually, just to qualify the statement that Terry read, it is eventually that you will need to go out to bid.
Okay. But
And that is something that, you know, if we use state or federal funds, that is something that is required.
But is there a statute that says somewhere, you know, you cannot operate an existing contract longer than 5 years without going out to rebid, or there's some specific language that gives you time frames?
I'm not sure about that specific requirement, but generally what we're required by the state and the federal government is to have a 5-year contract, and you can have extensions as part of that contract. But usually they would want the extensions to be clearly spelled out. And I believe that this current contract that you have is well beyond the 5-year agreement that you currently have, and without any formal extensions.
Okay.
Would that be well, could we maybe get a legal opinion on that then? Or, I mean, in terms of, I kind of agree with Mr. Silva in terms of, you know, not having the ability to extend the contract, but, I mean, do we have a legal opinion on that as, in terms of, is that a requirement?
I have not been asked to look into it, no.
Well, we can do that, but we can also agree, I think, that it's certainly a best practice to go out for an RFP with a contractor that's been in service with us for 14, 15 years.
Yes.
You survey the market to make sure that you're getting the best pricing, the service, and everything else, as opposed to continuing with these types of agreements. So even if there's not a legal requirement or a regulatory requirement, it certainly is a best practice to go out.
But have we been practicing that?
No.
Because we've been doing extensions, as was stated by Mr. Hagan. And
That's
Mr.
right.
Hagan, do you have more information you want to share?
Yes. The next
Mr.
3
Hagan,
slides
I'm sorry,
show
Terry.
the 12 points. Go ahead.
One question before you get too far off. What was the initial contract with ARC, and how long have we been continuing to extend? Do you know that?
You mean the initial term?
Yeah, was the initial term of
2000.
So for
The year 2000.
and was that based on a 5-year agreement?
I would have to go back and look.
Okay.
It would have to end in 2006 as well, which we were awarded the contract to renew. And we are on our third extension year, and our current contract is valid until 2016.
Thank you.
Is that accurate?
Well, I mean, she's,
Again, I'd have to go back and look at the contract. The points that made in the staff report, there were 12 points that ICTC said that are potential advantages. I won't read through every page here, but these are the 3. And then the next 2 slides show the potential disadvantages, and these were provided by ARC, our current dial-a-ride contractor. So staff asks council to select either option, retain the current contract with ARC or participate in the consolidated contract, IBT ride. Any questions?
I have a question. Mr. Hagan, was the city allowed to participate in the RFP process as part of the evaluation panel or putting together the requirements or anything like that?
I participated through the entire process.
Okay.
I was one of the members.
So can you tell us a little bit about the RFP process? Did you feel that it was complete? Did you feel it was fair? Did you feel it was well managed?
Yes, I feel it was very complete. They had 5 submittals, written submittals, proposals. We selected 4, interviewed those 4, and my personal scoring, I had all 4, which included ARC, scored highly. I think the difference between the top one, which was Access, I believe.
First Transit.
it doesn't matter who the top one was. it
And
doesn't
the bottom one was just, in my scoring, was just a few points different. So
Okay,
they're all adequate to provide the service.
But what about the evaluation panel as a whole? And the reason I'm asking these questions is this is what I do. This is my occupation, is managing contracts, RFP process, evaluation of proposals. So your participation is important, but I'm also interested in, maybe this is a question for ICTC, but at the end of the day, when all the rankings came out, was there a clear number 1, number 2, number 3, or were they all bunched together? Or
There were, and they're in the letter attached to the
Okay.
Staff report.
all right.
Because from a bid perspective, I know at least 1 and 2 came
Very close.
very close to each other.
Yes.
Within with small percentage of each other.
Well, it was 1 and 4
$20,000 out of a $9 million bid.
over many years, yes. Yeah, the cost is very, very close.
Is this one of those scenarios in which if a contractor is selected that you must select a low bid, or are there other mitigating circumstances that can be
No, cost
reviewed?
is not the main determining factor.
Okay, we do have other folks who would like to give testimony on this item. Are there any additional questions for Mr. Hagan?
You know, actually, I do. I mean, could you give us a recommendation, Mr. Hagan, on what your preference would be as the Director of Public Works?
I would rather leave that up to you as council.
And can I share why? Or could you share why?
It's a tough decision. It's very hard. The relationship with ARC has been very good. ICTC, when they did this process, part of the reason ARC has the contract is they get grants for buses, and ICTC, to make it a level playing field, they went out, got the grant for the new buses for the entire system, and so in the RFP process, it was apples to apples. And again, in my personal evaluation and ranking, all 4 interviewers were very close. So any of them could provide good service, I think, to the city.
That's important.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Can I ask, Mark, can I ask a question?
He's one of the folks that's going to testify. So are there any additional questions for Mr. Hagan? If not, I would like to ask Arturo Santos to come forward, followed by Kathleen Kennedy.
Good afternoon, Madam Mayor, City Councilman. I'm Arturo Santos. I'm the administrator of the ARC. I'm just going to say a few things. Not going to talk too much about transportation. I'm going to leave that to my staff. I do want you to say hi to my transportation staff in the back. The ARC is a community organization. We had this relationship for many, many years. And unlike other businesses, we're really part of this community, and especially El Centro. We have, for example, already set up to open an autism center. We also have in mind in our strategic plan to open a senior center for people with Alzheimer's. We just opened a restaurant. Other businesses are not going to do that. We are. But in order for us to do that, we need partnerships. We need people to help us get to our goals. So this is what we're going to share with you guys when you make your consideration, that the ARC is about the community, and we're very much a part of the El Centro community. And that's all I want to say. If you have any questions for me, anything having to do with specifically with transportation, I'm going to let my staff address.
Mr. Silva.
Getting to a point made by the mayor, I don't know if you can answer or perhaps the staff. Did you feel that within the RFP process and the information that you provided that you were given a adequate opportunity to provide your best proposal?
I can reassure you that the amount of time and effort that the ARC puts to present various scenarios, I'm just concerned at the time. There's a lot of proposals, a lot of information, and it's kind of difficult to digest so quickly. I would have preferred if there would have been more time between we presented our material and a recommendation was made. So yeah, I think that could be something that could be improved upon. It's a lot of material, a lot of scenarios, a lot of various budgets that we presented. So I think that could be improved.
Mr. Santos, do you know or have an estimate as to the amount of revenue and or the percentage of your overall program revenue that is derived from the dial-a-ride service?
Transportation as a whole is around 10% of our operation.
Okay.
But I need to clarify this. You know, some of our funding as in 2008 when the economy went down, we're underfunded. So contracts like this that we have, performance-based contracts, are very important for us because they provide us seed money to do other things.
Okay, but at the end of the day, after you've paid all expenses to your
10
drivers,
to 15,
maintenance, insurance, and all the rest.
10 to 15%.
10 to 15% of your operating budget. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Are there additional questions?
And that's a great, and just to follow up to the mayor's question, so this 10 to 15%, how many employees does that represent?
Well, right now the ARC has about 180 employees, and I think transportation has how many right now? 25.
25.
No, Madam Mayor, I don't have any questions, but of course, for those in the audience as well as this council is well aware, I am your representative on the ICTC. This did come before the board and it was discussed, and so I will reserve any comments regarding that until you hear from all the testimony, and I'll make some comments.
Thank you, Mr. Santos. I do have a question for our city attorney. Have you had a chance to review the ARC contract?
No, I have not.
Okay. Because I think I heard a representation that the term extends through 2016. So I guess I would be interested in knowing what are the legal ramifications if the city were to take action to terminate that contract early to move to a different provider. Okay, well, if you know the answer, the next person I'm going to ask to come forward is Kathleen Kennedy, followed by Maro Barraza, followed by Mark Baza.
Hi. My name's Kathleen Kennedy. I'm the Director of Transportation for ARC Imperial Valley. And with regards to your question, it's on extensions right now. The original contract started in September of 2000. It went back out to bid in 2006, which we were able to retain the El Centro Dollar Ride contract at that time. And it had a 5-year plus 5 one-year extensions. And that takes us to 2016 on the current contract. Under extensions, we're under extensions now.
But
so
those are single-year extensions.
Correct.
So the contract could actually be terminated if we
Yes.
didn't exercise all of those renewal
correct.
options.
Yes, that's why I wanted to clear that up.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay. The ARC Imperial Valley was founded in 1973 as a nonprofit 501c3 social service agency providing the disabled community with a wide variety of programs and services, to include paratransit services that commenced operations in 1981. Since then, since 1993, the ARC has had multiple public transportation contracts, and we have been providing the City of El Centro with their dollar ride services since 2000. So for the past 14 years, we've been providing you with very quality transportation services, and my entire team is here tonight to support us and to show that we're here, and we're here to support the City of El Centro and your dollar ride services. And they are excellent. I have a wonderful team. They provide quality service, excellent service, and as Mr. Hagan indicated. We are a local provider. We're very community-based. For 41 years, we have been involved in our community in very many ways. We have our entire management team and our volunteer board of directors all live here within the valley. We bring in several millions of dollars, especially in federal funds, into our valley here to spend. It goes full circle into salaries, goods, services, and into wages, and it goes into the tax structure of the City of El Centro and the property tax structure, as most of the 179 employees that work at the ARC are homeowners as well. We are an EEO employing 179 employees currently and 205 clients. We are the largest employer for the disabled community. And our ARC Human Resources Director, Lori Weaver, closely works with the EDD. And I really took note on the EDD's presentation tonight because she works very closely with the Department of Rehab, the EDD, the Serve Vets, just to name a few, and we have received distinction from the IVROP just recently. On March 27th, we received an award for our cooperation and our hiring of IVROP clients, as well as we were named as Employer of the Year by the California State Assembly for our commitment to hiring veterans, and not just veterans, but veterans with disabilities. As I said, we are the largest employer of the disabled community throughout the entire Imperial Valley. Our qualifications include a volunteer ARC Board of Directors who are very diverse and proactive group of people dedicated to the ARC mission to help people achieve their potential. The Chief Executive Officer, Arturo Santos, who you just met, has 25 years experience with the ARC and in the disability field, and is a certified instructor at SDSU Ivy campus. I'm the Director of Transportation. I have a formal education in anthropology and 23 years of experience in paratransit management with a credential accreditation from Pepperdine University for transportation management. Furthermore, Ramon Aguirre, right here, is Transportation Coordinator. He's been with me for 18 years, and he is a certified driver trainer by FTA TSI Institute, as well as the National Transportation Institute for Operations and Dispatch. Our lead dispatcher, Abigail Camacho, is celebrating her 15th year with the ARC next week, actually, and she is certified in dispatching and scheduling by the RTAP. All of our drivers are trained by our Ramon Aguirre, and they are all certified by the CHP as general public paratransit drivers. And this is a very high distinction of quality of a driver. Let's see, our vehicle maintenance tech, Jose Meza, is celebrating his 25th year with the ARC in October, and he is responsible for scheduling all routine preventative maintenance and DOT inspections and ensuring that all repair and or replace of equipment is performed by fleet and or equipment manufacturers certified representative in accordance with the OEM to ensure all warranty integrity. Safety and security. As a nonprofit social services agency, the ARC is eligible and successful in the FTA 5310 capital grant procurement, of which to date we have been awarded over $3.5 million, of which the City of Imperial, the City of El Centro and Imperial too, have benefited from the free fleet that we provide for you for the last 14 years. In fact, I have a replacement vehicle for the City of El Centro that is on order and is scheduled to arrive in late summer or early fall of 2014 at absolutely no expense to the City of El Centro. And that is about an $89,000 vehicle that's coming. ARC places safety as a top priority, in which only certified ASE master mechanics perform all repairs from the ARC fleet, and our recent CHP inspection had a perfect rating. Absolutely no violations or corrections were noted. This is incredibly unusual. They just search and search and search. So I was very proud of Jose Meza and my team for keeping a very clean fleet, safe fleet for our passengers and for our contractors. ARC is a proactive participant in the Office of Emergency Services, and we have participated in all the workshops, in the Golden Guardian workshops and such throughout the years. Also within our contract is our fleet is designated to provide transportation in case of an emergency for the community. All of the ARC personnel receive extensive training and experience in relating to the needs of the elderly and for people with disabilities that goes beyond the FTA Title 49 and DOT TDA requirements, to which such ADA compliant sensitivity training comes naturally on the job at the ARC. Because we are a social services agency, because we have over 205 disabled clients at our facility, that's what we do. That's who we are. These are only but a few ways in which the city benefits from contracting with the ARC of Imperial Valley. On community, as we are part of this community for 41 years, we are entrenched, we are fully engaged in our community, and we do not need a mandate to provide community service. That just goes natural with what we do at the ARC. Just from my department alone, which currently is about 15.5% of the agency, annually the ARC provides such community support as complimentary ADA paratransit services for such events as Senior Appreciation Day, Disabilities Awareness Day, the Sir Optimus Senior Valentine's Day Luncheon, the Senior Disabled Veterans Midwinter Fair Day, Children's Hospital Ronald McDonald Red Shoe Day, and People's First Conference, just to name a few. As well as we participate in all 7 or 8 annual parades from the Brawley Catacall all the way to the El Centro Mardi Gras. This one here is the El Centro Christmas Parade that we were in just this last Christmas, and that one over there is the Mardi Gras that was just in, 2 months ago in March. The conclusion is the proposed consolidation of all 5 Dollaride contracts, and this is the 3rd time for this attempt to consolidate. Currently, the ARC operates 3 of the 5 Dollarides that are on this consolidation plan. This creates a monopoly that would, to eliminate all qualified competitors, will only create a provider with a sense of invulnerability and will drive up the costs of each respective community.
competition keeps the price of services in check. A monopoly will take all transit funding completely out of the control of each respective community. The monopoly will make it very difficult for the city to take back management oversight should circumstances deem this necessary. The city will lose all public identification and recognition for providing an ADA compliant paratransit service dial ride for their city residents. The turnover of an ADA compliant paratransit service dial ride provider will result in new procedures and services in which changes are very difficult for seniors and the disabled community to react to. Furthermore, the arrival of a new provider brings no assurance that the service will be as outstanding with regards to our customer service and our safety record as that under the auspice of the Arc of Imperial Valley. And I'd like to thank you very much.
Can we keep that conclusion slide up there, because
Absolutely.
I'm thinking we will probably ask ICTC to comment. Okay. Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Kennedy?
Not at this time, Madam Mayor, but I would ask for a short recess for personal privileges, please.
Okay.
Thank you. I don't know if you want to continue without me or just
No,
wait
we'll
till
wait.
Thank you.
We're going to take a quick break.